This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. We begin with serious accusations from India on this Friday. Dozens of Canadian colleges working with human traffickers in India, using student visas as a pretense to allow people to make their way into the United States. The accusations come from India's law enforcement following their investigation into the deaths of a family at the Manitoba-U.S. border. The CBC's Bartley Kivas has the latest.
Wind on the Bald Prairie at the Manitoba-Minnesota border, where a family of 4 from India died in 2022 trying to enter the United States. 1 American and 1 Indian national were convicted in a Minnesota court last month of human smuggling. And this week, an Indian law enforcement agency says it's found evidence of what it called human trafficking in the aftermath of the Minnesota tragedy. India's enforcement directorate claims more than 100 colleges based in Canada have entered into agreements with Indian organizations to provide false Canadian student visas. India's enforcement directorate alleges once some students make it to Canada, they attempt to cross into the U.S.
This type of fraud, of gaming our immigration system, has been going on for quite some time.
Kelly Sundberg is a former Canada Border Services agent and a professor of criminology at Mount Royal University in Calgary. He says Canada lacks the personnel and resources to screen college applications and prevent what he calls staggering numbers of people entering Canada under false pretenses.
We have an honor-based system, and it's being exploited by transnational criminals and other individuals who simply are taking advantage of a system that has virtually no oversight or enforcement attached to it.
Ken Zafman, a Winnipeg immigration lawyer, says you can't blame the Canada Border Services Agency alone for this. He says colleges bear responsibility for failing to thoroughly vet their applications.
They were addicted to international students to fund their programs, and this is across Canada.
Zafman says some colleges have very little interest in ensuring they're approving genuine students.
They chose to continue appointing agents outside of Canada to recruit international students with no control over what they were doing and how they were marketing it.
People get vulnerable, they get desperate.
Bob Hewish, an international development professor at Dalhousie University in Halifax, says private colleges have been set up in Canada to take advantage of migrants.
Suddenly, these students who have already paid thousands for an opportunity in Canada are now encouraged to go into other networks for labor or human trafficking, or in this case, smuggling across the border.
Colleges and Institutes Canada says it's not aware of any colleges involved in the allegations. The Office of the Immigration Minister did not comment. The RCMP say it's aware of the allegations and it's reaching out to India for more information. Tensions between Canada and India remain over the alleged targeting of Sikh activists in this country. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, it's been a busy 24 hours for Winnipeg firefighters. Crews responded to 3 fires on Thursday alone, leaving at least 3 people injured. The CBC's Felicia Adam reports.
Friday morning, smoke was still coming out of the windows of this vacant home on Pritchard Avenue. Firefighters continuing to tame a fire that started Thursday evening.
I'm not shocked that it was caught on fire.
Rebecca Murdoch lived in the house 3 years ago. Now she lives next door.
I heard sirens and I heard and then all of a sudden there was a lot of sirens, and I thought it was across the street, and then he came out and seen that it was actually the house next door here. This is probably the second or third time it's been on fire, but this is the first time we see it actually coming down like that.
While no one was injured, this is the second time this home has caught fire this year. Because of structural integrity and to make sure all of the fire spots are put out, the Winnipeg Fire and Paramedic Services decided it was best to do an emergency demolition.
The landlords and that whoever owns it wasn't really taking care of it, and how many times it's been broken into, and I think it's better that it's coming down than it's staying up.
This is one of 3 fires that took place in the city on Thursday. Less than an hour after, another home on Agnes Street caught fire. 2 people were taken to the hospital but are doing okay. Earlier in the same day, a firefighter was injured while responding to another fire on Main Street. The cause for all 3 fires is under investigation. Felicia Adam, CBC News, Winnipeg.
One of Winnipeg's premier tourist attractions is the centre of a lawsuit. Assiniboine Park Conservancy is seeking financial compensation in connection to alleged deficiencies in the construction of the Leaf. In a statement of claim, the Conservancy says the Leaf continues to suffer damages following flooding 2 years ago. It alleges that flooding was the result of poor ventilation, heating and air conditioning work. It's the latest in a series of lawsuits and countersuits filed by the Conservancy and contractors since the Leaf opened in 2022. None of the defendants named in the suit have filed a statement of defense, and the allegations have not been tested in court. All right, time for a first check on our weather, and boy, oh boy, some of that low cloud from the Forks here. You can't even see the skyline from Winnipeg. At one point, visibility was down to 600 meters earlier this afternoon at the airport. This warm weather wreaking havoc on outdoor activities. The skating rinks at the Forks have been closed for now because of that warm weather. Looking at our temperatures from today, we got to plus 1.8 in Winnipeg this afternoon, rounding up to 2 at the airport, above 0 right into northwestern Ontario. Brandon on the freezing mark this afternoon, and some cooler air into parts of western Manitoba, -8 in Dauphin this afternoon. Swan River and the Paw both at -5. That's because we've seen an area of low pressure moving across Saskatchewan, bringing a bit of a skiff of snow or some light snow to parts of western Manitoba throughout the afternoon hours today. That will continue as we get into the overnight hours, but it's what's coming to the south that I want to draw your attention to. An area of low pressure, a Texas low making its way up into the Midwest. This will spread snow and some rain even to the tune of 10 to 15 millimeters to parts of northwestern Ontario throughout the weekend. So we're looking at a bit of a soggy weekend into northwestern Ontario. For southern Manitoba, more like a mainly sunny afternoon tomorrow with still some snow through the north, particularly along the Hudson Bay coast as we get into the day Saturday and into Sunday. So a bit of a different story in northern Manitoba with some precipitation, but we do get some sunshine here in the south. Snow to come, 2 to 4 centimeters for places like Swan River and the Paw, but we could see up to 10 centimeters along the Hudson Bay coast. Churchill getting 10 centimeters by this time on Sunday, 6 centimeters in Shamattawa. So some accumulating snow to come as we get through into the day on Sunday. What we will notice, especially as we've seen some melting today and some warm temperatures, again, the risk of some patchy fog through the Red River Valley as we get into the morning hours tomorrow. Once again, so we could see a bit of a foggy one again, especially out on the highways and inside the city, and that chance of fog persists even as we get into the day on Sunday morning for southern Manitoba. Overnight tonight, looking at temperatures of -3 overnight in Winnipeg, -2 in Gimli. Again, that risk of patchy fog. Rain through northwestern Ontario. Fort Frances at 0 tonight. Dauphin -8, -3 in Thompson through the overnight period. Into Saturday, looking at temperatures on the freezing mark for Winnipeg, Dauphin with some sunshine through the afternoon hours. +1 with that snow into the Thompson region. Looking into Sunday, looking at clouds starting to build in, but a mix of sun and clouds. -4 for Winnipeg, -7 for Dauphin, -2 for Thompson. Looking at your extended forecast for Winnipeg, yes, again, the risk of some fog patches as we get through the weekend. -3 for Monday. I'll have your 7-day forecast a little later in the show. One of Canada's biggest minor hockey tournaments is happening right here in Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets Challenge Cup has brought in 2,600 players from across Manitoba, Northern Ontario, Saskatchewan, and as far away as Rankin Inlet. And the Jets themselves are a part of it as well.
Yeah, of course.
It's good for growth and for getting better. It's really fun. It feels like a community of hockey playing like just a bunch of games just on end.
Kids get to experience people from other cultures or other areas in Canada and kind of maybe build lifelong friendships. So many of these kids will meet each other off the ice and join that friendship in the name of sport.
See how excited and happy they were to see us, and even though we were only there for a few minutes, just to be able to sign some autographs. I think they were a little starstruck. I think they, we were maybe messing with them. They were getting all focused for their game. They were already all geared up. So I think it was just kind of funny to sign a hockey skate and a hockey stick or something like right along the blade. I'm like, are you sure this might come off later? They're like, I don't know, I don't really care. So it was funny. You could see that they were a little, surprised and maybe kind of scrambling a little bit on what to sign. They're like, oh, can you sign my jersey? I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, is your coach going to get mad? So no, it was fun. It was good just to, like I said, see some smiles and, wish them good luck.
Still ahead for us tonight, it's supposed to be a place to provide 24/7 safe space for vulnerable women and Two-Spirit people in Winnipeg, but some advocates say it is not meeting that goal. The challenges facing Velma's house when we return. Stay with us, we're back right after this. Advocates are speaking out because they say Winnipeg's only 24/7 safe space for vulnerable and exploited women has not fulfilled its mandate. The CBC's Felicia Adam has the story.
Planning the night's route.
We'll cross over and hit this first back lane here. Okay. And I want to go straight down all the way, probably to Wellington.
Morgan's Warriors will spend the next 4 hours walking Winnipeg streets, making sure people are safe. Melissa Robinson co-founded the outreach group in honor of her cousin, who was living on the streets when she was killed in 2022.
We're out here saving lives, trying to make things better for our women. I'll put your toque on. Oh, I bet that feels good, eh? Yeah.
Robinson says women are choosing to not use shelters because of safety concerns. She says they've stopped using Velma's house, Winnipeg's only 24/7 safe space for women, because it's closed too often.
They never seem to be open, first off. You do call, no one answers the phone.
Velma's house opened in 2021 and is run by Gani Ganichik. Its mandate is to provide a low-barrier, 24/7 safe space for women and gender-diverse individuals. Right now, it opens Monday at 8 a.m. and closes Friday at midnight. Saturday has reduced hours and it's closed Sunday.
As an advocate, if any organization isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing to help better the lives of our people that go there, then that's a problem.
Isabel Daniels is the driving force behind Velma's house. She says the program was designed by women with lived experience of homelessness and exploitation. She was on staff when it opened, but says she eventually quit because she didn't feel heard. Now, she says current and former staff and participants are coming to her with similar concerns.
Our women need people who care for their well-being in a manner to fix these things that are wrong with the program, instead of coming up with excuses as to why they can't hit these mandated hours.
Dodie Jordan acknowledges there are staffing challenges. She says Velma's house can help 15 women at a time, less if they don't have 5 staff on shift.
We are also talking about revising the way we do our shifts and maybe making it a bit more accessible for people with families, for women to take those positions. So we're doing a strategy right now to figure out how we can resolve this.
She says the need is growing, 33,000 visits this year alone. So they've put their Bannatyne location up for sale with an offer in on a bigger space. She says it will bring the Sexual Wellness Lodge and clinic together with Velma's house.
The vision was always that those programs would be together with Velma's house as well. So moving to a new building will allow us to do that.
Daniels says she worries services will get even worse while the program is in transition.
We're just going to see more homicides. We're going to see more victims of violence, more women go missing. A woman dying of hypothermia because they can't access a safe place.
While Jordan will not say where the new location of Velma's house will be, she says it will take almost 2 years to renovate the new space after the sale goes through. In the meantime, Velma's house will be temporarily relocated here at 92 Higgins Avenue. As for when services will become 24/7, Jordan couldn't say. Felicia Adam, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew says a rate freeze on electricity in 2025 is achievable despite another projected financial loss at Manitoba Hydro. The provincial government promised a 1-year freeze in the last election campaign as a way to help people with the rising cost of living. That has raised concerns with the Consumers Coalition, a group made up of 3 nonprofits, including the Manitoba branch of the Consumers Association of Canada. The group says a freeze now may lead to higher rate increases in future years. Wab Kinew believes the 1-year rate freeze is the right way to go, though. The final decision, though, rests with the Public Utilities Board. Opening prayers in the Manitoba legislature are about to become more inclusive in the new year. It's one of the ideas heard at a prayer summit that the government hosted in the fall. Premier Kinew has previously said he wants to change up the legislative prayer to reflect a variety of faith traditions and those with no faith at all. Kinew says a rotation of prayers might get buy-in from opposition parties.
It might be that having that roster of different prayers where different faith communities might each have a turn here in their specific way of praying reflected in the legislature, that might be the way that we can sort of ensure everyone is on board.
Canoe says another idea is for a new multi-denominational prayer. Any change to the prayer, though, will require the consensus of other parties. Well, many may have been out shopping on Boxing Day, but one Winnipeg man was out running. Janelle Malapad marked his 10th edition of Running Day yesterday. He ran for 12 hours straight in support of Silo Mission. Malapad says the shelter is always in need of items this time of year.
Silo Mission does a lot of work to help people out. As you know, we live life, we need a lot of things. And whatever we need, that's what we need.
Items like clean underwear, socks, warm clothes, blankets, sheets, toiletries, and kitchen supplies are all needed. Malapad raised more than $8,000 yesterday. When you combine his previous 9 years of charitable runs, he has raised more than $120,000 for Silo Mission. A Brandon-based cyclist will be on the world stage this summer, challenging the Tour de France route. Grant Hamilton is part of Tour 21, a group of amateur cyclists from around the world biking to raise money for cancer before the race starts. The CBC's Chelsea Kemp has the story.
Training around 50 kilometers a day, Brandon cyclist Grant Hamilton is preparing for the biggest ride of his life. He's one of 25 cyclists selected for the Tour 21, a group of amateur cyclists challenging the Tour de France route for charity this summer. That means Hamilton will be biking from the Mediterranean coast through the mountains of France over 21 days. He'll have to bike around 200 kilometers a day to complete the route on time.
It's a lot. It's more than 3,300 kilometers. It's up and down the Pyrenees. It's up and down the Alps. And from what I understand, is the equivalent of climbing Everest 5 or 6 times.
Hamilton has teamed up with A&L Cycle to train for the grueling route. Owner Cam Wirch says it's going to take a lot of strength and flexibility training to ensure Hamilton can get on the bike for each leg of his journey.
It's not totally physical. Like, it's hard part's going to be, psyching yourself up for the next day for another big ride. And the training's going to help, by putting lots of miles in beforehand. You get used to that, sitting on the bike that long too, because that's a static position for a lot of hours.
Hamilton and his team are trying to raise $2 million to support leukemia research. His personal goal is to raise $55,000. He says it's part of his continued cycling advocacy work, which began after he was struck by a car while biking just over 2 years ago.
I used that motivation to say, hey, if I can be hit by a car and I'm, biking on one of Brandon's share the road bike paths, it could happen to anybody, and it's time to make the city a little bit safer for cycling.
Hamilton's passion has already taken him around the world. Last summer, with a team from Brandon, he traveled to Copenhagen to learn best practices for cyclist-friendly roads to make his city streets safer. He says riding with the Tour 21 team is another chance to get Brandon and cycling safety on the world stage. Chelsea Kemp, CBC News, Brandon.
Here's another shot of not much of a skyline through that low cloud and fog across much of southern Manitoba today, and even in parts of the north. We'll get a last check on your 7-day forecast, and of course, I'll have your dog walking forecast when we come back. NASA says the Parker Solar Probe has survived its record-breaking close flyby of the sun. The probe phoned home shortly before midnight Eastern Time, and all indications are that it is operating normally. The probe will begin sending back data on New Year's Day. All right, here's a look at your dog walking forecast for your Saturday. Might be a bit of a foggy one first thing in the morning tomorrow. This is Bruno, who looks like he really wants to sleep in. Thank you, Pat and Brian, for sending this picture in. You can send yours to talkback@cbc.ca. Winds won't be all that strong tomorrow, but could see some gusts up to the 30 mark through the afternoon. We're looking at -1 by the afternoon, -2 by the evening in Winnipeg. Here's your 7-day forecast, up to a high of 0 through the afternoon hours tomorrow. -3 for Monday. Clouds again feature as part of our forecast here. New Year's, slight chance of flurries, -8, and then we're dipping down to -15, -16 into the new year. Some people in Winnipeg flocked to malls and stores to catch deals, while others spent a warm Boxing Day in the great outdoors. We asked some Winnipeggers what they were up to on Boxing Day in tonight's Daily Lift.
There's a lot of really awesome stores here that have a ton of awesome things. There's some really good deals going on. I ended up scoring a really good TV at Best Buy, so that was a sweet score.
Honestly, we have someone to babysit our kid.
Yeah, I think that would be the big thing.
Yeah.
We have grandma to watch her, so.
And she's old enough to be babysat
gives us the freedom to go out.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to tackle Boxing Day with kids.
Yeah, we like to stay away from the crowds and just kind of spend time with family and kind of take it easy. Like I said, after Christmas, it's nice to just chill. We like to go to various hills and take the kids, and they got some new sleds for Christmas, so trying them out.
Yeah, we live in an age of consumerism, and we're really trying to avoid that with our kids and just make sure that family is important. God is really important to us, and worship, and yeah, just spreading cheer. Yeah, the weather, it's beautiful outside. It's a great day for tobogganing. We took our 6 kids to come here and spend some time outside, get some fresh air and some exercise.
Although with the temperatures we've had, might be a bit on the warm and slippery side to do some tobogganing this weekend, but certainly a nice weekend to get outside. That is our program for this Friday. Thank you so much for being with us. I will see you again on Monday at 6. Have a great night.